Hello, everyone. I am Hex Harbor, and this is Amateur Hour. And today we are finally looking at Gail Simone's 5-day comic writing course that she held on Twitter some time ago. Now, I've only read one of Gail Simone's books. It was Wonder Woman: The Circle, and that was because Linkara, when I used to watch him, he recommended it like years and years and years ago. Funny thing is, I read it and then I immediately lost the book. So that has been my overall relationship with Gail Simone's work prior to this. And nowadays she is just calling everyone Nazis, berating people on Twitter, and fucking god, she posts way too much on Twitter. I tried to find this whole thing just on her Twitter page alone. I was about elbow deep and the timestamps were only like 14 hours ago. And it was just like, dear freaking God. But thank you, whoever archived this, so that I don't have to wade through just mounds and mounds of tweets. I don't get Twitter. I have a shit posting account on Twitter. Never will publishing. If you want to follow me for when I occasionally come up with a really dumb title for a book or something like that. But anyway, so we have day one orientation. Now, I have gone through this just in case there was something like I couldn't immediately do on the computer to record, like go take a shower, have a healthy lunch, sacrifice a goat to the god of inspiration of your choice, that sort of thing. But I will still go ahead and read through this anyway for everyone's amusement. And if there's two things I'm bad at doing, talking in videos and reading aloud. So you get double the fun. Anyway, for today's class, it would be helpful for you to have the following equipment: a pen or pencil, a notepad, book or notepad, okay, a small box or container. I don't have a box on me, but I have this Yeti mug that I got a couple Easters ago, and have used that for its intended purpose uh, 0 times. So, all right. It would also be great if you had your cell phone. We won't be calling. A D8, but the last two are not necessary. Okay. First goal here is not to help make a perfect story. It is also not to get you published at this stage. Well, I would assume not. What it is part lesson, part simulator of what writing comics is for most people working for a publisher. If you do the exercises, you may in fact learn some things you didn't even realize at the time. So some stuff might sound a bit theatrical or specific, but it all has a point, I promise. At the end of sessions 2 through 5, we will have a short Q&A for specific questions, which I will not be able to read. But, who cares? Well, the thing here is about the nuts and bolts of writing. Well, parts of the exercise is to create a story under specific guidelines revealed to you a little piece at a time. If we do it right, it'll be fun, but you'll learn a lot about what we do. I'm going to have some guests sit in later sessions to teach a bit about their expertise. I don't know if that'll translate into the future archive threads, but that would be interesting if those exist. Alright. Most important, don't worry. You can't mess it up. The only person grading you is you. I already give myself an F, but that's aside the point. Later on, if you want to share your work, feel free. Blah blah blah. I'm not an artist, neither am I. I can't draw at all. I've written 600 comics and hired a lot of artists. Okay, but that's just all fluff. It's day one, about first steps, and word of the day is focus. There are people who have the dedication and cussedness to write a graphic novel and fund it and oversee it and get it printed as their first project. Yeah, like Jawbreaker's Lost Souls, which could have gotten a mainstream release if Mark Waid didn't fuck that all up. Thanks, Mark Waid, you jerk. Uh, but yeah, we've got plenty of people doing it. It's called Comicsgate. We do not have to be that person, and many of them wish they had started smaller. Focus is your friend. Focus in every aspect of the process. Focus on an idea that you believe in. Focus on keeping it narrow and impactful. Focus on finishing. Okay, harmless so far. One project, one idea, one executed story. That's our goal. So your thesis at the end of this is going to be something manageable, something that can be accomplished, a 5 to 8 page complete story. All right, that'll have to be in a lot of broad strokes, but all right, whatever, sure, why not? My last project was like 11 pages, and it was mostly containing kind of one fairly large scene. Uh, yeah, but that was, but 5 to 8 pages, that's pretty manageable. Now, even then, you can't sound intimidating, but I promise you're going to in minute-sized bits. And at the end, you'll have written a real, complete comic script with a lot of help and suggestions for people who do this for a living. Sound good? There are a lot of thought exercises that are going to be possible and sound a little silly. I promise they're anything but. Okay, step one. All right, here we go. This is the step that I'm not doing, which is pretty much just picking up your phone, turning it to selfie mode, and looking at yourself and saying, you're your own worst critic, and your critic is going to shut the fuck up for 5 days so you can get this done, and blah 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 blah. I mean, affirmations are good if you're the kind of person who needs them. I'm not gonna judge you for that. I freaking hate myself, so it's more along the lines of, hey, this is going to be terrible, so just do it anyway, or else you'll just add another reason of why you should hate yourself because you gave up before you even tried. Eh, anyway, sorry. Blah blah. Miles keep to do. Yeah, look at that smug bastard. Fuck his opinions, i.e., me, mine. Okay. Speaking as a former hairdresser who lived in the boonies and had never been to a con, it can be done. It happens all the time. Right, as I handed an announcement from the campus nurse, there's a big bug going around. It's called, what the fuck is this? What the fuck is this? Why are you talking like this? Symptoms are waffling and a panic feeling that you don't belong. I don't belong, but hey, it's easier to be proven wrong than giving up without even trying. Screw that noise. If you want to make comics, you belong. Take two Astro. I had to Google what Astro City even freaking was. It was another comic. Uh, Thankfully, it wasn't written by her because I would have had to dock a few points of respect for saying, like, hey, just read one of my comics twice and call me tomorrow. Ah, fuck. Now, one more thing before we get started in the exercise. Take out your pen and notebook if you have one. All right, class, I want you to think for a moment. Think of reasons why you're not doing it, okay? I actually have that piece of paper in my mug, and I will go ahead and just type those out here for everyone else. Okay, one was and so yeah, here's what I had written, and now it's going back over there. And you're just supposed to write out these 3 reasons, uh, put them in a box, and like, okay, I'm seeing a lot of self-punishment in the replies, which is to be expected. Uh, Folks, I promise half the reasons are things that have been instilled into you aren't necessarily true. Yeah, blah 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 blah. Now here's what we're going to do. Tear the sheet out of your. Uh, oh, complete random side note. I hate composition books. The page I used was out of one, and yeah, there's no proper way to tear anything out of those. It's just gonna come out garbage. Uh, that was always vexed me. Get the ones with the perforated, and fuck spiral bound too. And the sheet with your reasons out, fold it up, put it in a roadblock box. Okay. The fears for putting them down. I promise you, nearly every writer you admire has a list like this. It's only repetition and endurance that makes them see past it. I guarantee you, those Eisner winners, most of them wrote for the same kinds of things you did. So screw those things too. All right, now we're ready. We know the person we have to arm wrestle. We put our excuses where they can't be heard. We are a blank page, and that's terrifying. But this is exciting as hell too. Like, I'll make sure this is an actual blank page. And get to put stuff on it. People, places. So much is overwhelming. So many options. Too many ideas. Too many things to say. That's where it comes in. Focus. Small idea like a crystal goblet in the sun, but it takes focus. Small 5 to 8 pages. If you go over, you have to edit it down. Because we are simulating not what you would write given endless freedom. We are simulating what you a publisher and an editor. 5 to 8 pages, no more. Okay, blah blah. Problem minor that means that you are Voltron. Or your robot made of several pieces and the other limbs move differently. Okay. So, going to ask again. Don't jump ahead. We're trying to simulate what's writing under these conditions. Finally, looking at a bunch of things if requested. Do not use licensed characters. Yes, you have to legally cover your ass so that we don't end up reading someone's fan fiction and then later making a story and then that person just suing our asses off. That's perfectly fine. All right, get your 8-sided die if you have one. Oh boy, this is where we get to pick the genre, and I just moved my super special awesome ice tower for that specific purpose. If you don't have one, there's die generator, whatever. First step's probably the easiest. You have to do a springboard. In comics, you either pitch a comic to an editor, or an editor calls you and wants you to write something, but in either case, it has to be something brief, very brief. It's called a springboard, and it's short. Editor doesn't have the time to read 3 pages of outline for a story they have no interest in. So if you do a springboard, generally a few sentences at most, contains characters, conflict, what the story is. Often you will be asked for a few springboards, so the editor has a choice. That's your assignment today. 2 springboards, short notice. Can you create on the fly? Springboard is the initiation key. I mean, yeah, that makes sense. Just a brief pitch to say, like, oh, my story is about how the mole men conquered Earth, but the king fell in love with this hideous, hideous monstrosity of a human being known as Hex Harper. Or whatever. So, alrighty. I will, here are the genres you write your springboard from. Remember that one gets chosen to become the full 5 to 8 page story. You can choose a genre from the list. Extra credit, roll the die to randomly pick a genre. Extra, roll twice and combine the 2 genres. Well, at least see what I come up with. And hopefully this picks up on the mic. There we go. Okay, the first one is horror. The other one is... Ooh. So I've got my choice between horror, fantasy, or horror fantasy. Alrighty then. I'll definitely have to mull that over a bit before I begin the next video and whatnot. But at least we have our selected genres. Now what we're doing here is very like what happens with the pro comic writers all the time. Marvel called me and said, we're doing a weird romance book. I had a set page number to fill. That's what this mimics. A very real world. If you can't do this, then you can make any story come out of the elements thrown at you like this. Congratulations, you're seriously on your way. So, 2 separate springboards, no licensed characters. It has to fit in a single tweet. Alright, fair enough. You do this foundational skill, that's your homework. You don't skip ahead, don't start writing pages. Most of this is just, okay, congratulatory, yay, we're on our way now. So, once I actually think of a proper idea for any of these, I will tell you what I came up with. So, thank you all very much for watching and putting up with me rambling. And I swear to God, in 100 years from now, these videos are going to be a hardly intrusive and hardly ethical way to euthanize old people by just inducing aneurysms on how cringy they are. But, hey, better than not doing anything at all. Am I right? Alright, thank you very much for taking the time to be here with me, and I will see you all next time.